they'd have all been talking about it, saying how amazing it was. And if I hadn't have had the chance to go there, I would have felt left out. I would have felt awkward. And actually, I had friends that were from more well-off families. And it was nice to be able... when you're around a posher friend's house, so to speak, and the house is nice and everything else, and they're all chatting away, it was nice to say, oh, I've been to the theatre, I've done this, and been... Otherwise, I would have had a bit of an imposter syndrome when I was with other friends that were from more privileged backgrounds.
Which is more disabling to you, isn't it, than enabling? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I think that's a great story, Matt, and a great experience that you've described to us. Thank you. Margaret's called from Bradford. Hello, Margaret.
Hello there, Sheila. Well, I loved hearing Matt speak about his experience with Henry V.
Yes.
Because I was very lucky at school, being taken to the Old Vic regularly. And my Henry V was none other than Richard Burton.
Oh.
A very young and handsome Richard Burton,
Absolutely.
But really, what I was speaking about happened to me later in life. I was in the cinema to see Romeo and Juliet. I think it was 60th version. I can't remember exactly. And a school party came into the cinema, and fairly noisy. I felt, those kids, they've been dragged to see Shakespeare, and they're not going to enjoy this one bit. And it was a bit restless as it started, but by the end, it was magnificent.
Was it the Zeffirelli Romeo and Juliet?
Yeah. And their kids were sobbing. They were shouting, "She's not dead. She's not dead."
Because it's a story, and you knew how to tell a story, didn't you? That was the one. I remember. I didn't see it in the cinema. I saw it on telly when I was a teenager. That's the one with Olivia Hussey as Juliet, isn't it? Leonard Whiting.
Yeah, and he was gorgeous.
So handsome. I was in love with him for a few years after seeing that. Yeah.
But it sort of really made you see it. We see it in a different light. Really. It was wonderful. Those kids had the chance to see that. I mean, absolutely. I'm like you, from much the same sort of background, I suppose.
Turn right.
And why should we have the same chances?
Absolutely. And you see, if you see a child, a toddler, staring at the a bus going with a violin, it's very simple. Put something beautiful in a child, and something will happen. Even if that means, for instance, they don't like it, still they have an experience. The idea that you closet some aspects of cultural life away from them
The car company.
Ah, you mean Hyundai, maker of the award-winning Ioniq 5N and the all-new Insta, their electric city car.
If you think you know our cars and how to say our name, where have you been?
Okay, search Hyundai.
It's the dawn of a new Hyundai. Do you ever feel like getting back under your duvet in the middle of the day? Ferrogloben is a great-tasting liquid formula with iron, which contributes to the reduction of tiredness and fatigue and then the formation of hemoglobin. Ferrogloben from Vitibiotics at Boots, pharmacies and vitibiotics.com.
Oi! Calling all young creatives. Kickstart your career in media. Apply now and join us in years 10 or 12 at Global Academy. globalacademy.com.
Big cash prizes, the latest tech and loads more. Enter now for your chance to win at winplus.co.uk. 18 plus, GBME, T's and C's apply.
Hi, it's Bruce the Butterfly here. Ooh, and I'm really high up. You see, Scottish Power has just been ranked top large energy supplier in the UK for customer service by Citizens Advice. We're reaching new heights of excellence, higher than any butterfly's been, that's for sure. It takes a huge effort to get all the way up here. There's a whole team of people working their socks off to reduce call waiting times, improve email response times, and handle complaints quicker. But at Scottish Power, we're not standing still. We're going to keep setting standards that are higher and higher and higher.
For details, go to citizensadvice.org.uk. Large suppliers include those with a market share of at least 5% in either gas or electricity.
This is LBC. Message Sheila Fogarty on WhatsApp now on 0345 6060 973.
Right, let's carry on the conversation about culture, whatever it means to you. It should mean lots of things, isn't it? Just wondering, and it's certainly not all highbrow. There is somebody we're going to speak to soon, before 4 o'clock anyway, who is going to try and convert me to Stravinsky plays as well. I remember having a really entertaining conversation. Do you remember the flotilla of boats for the Queen's Golden Jubilee? Ahead of it, journalists in batches were taken on to the Thames to be shown, what would be expected of us in terms of safety and where we would be going. And I got talking to, I can't remember which Duke he is. So he was overseeing the whole thing. I said, Lord Salisbury. And he was saying to me, oh, you're a Liverpool girl. I said, that's right. And he was delightful, by the way. This isn't about Liverpool by any means. He said, we'd been talking about the fact, didn't ask me how we got there, but we were talking about the fact that I, at that point, had never been to Venice. And he stopped in his tracks and he said, oh, my dear, I've got to go to Venice. And I said, it's an oversight on my part. And he was saying, this was a ridiculous one. And he was going, waxing everything on Venice. Anyway, then we talked about he told me that he's the, I don't know which number he is, let's say he's the 16,000. He said the third vastly increased our wealth. He married a so did he? And he married, if I'm going to get the details right, he married the daughter of a sandstone merchant in Liverpool. And half of Liverpool, I don't know whether you know, is built on this beautiful pink
Keep left and
sandstone.
then turn left.
So they were loaded, basically, whoever this family were, they were loaded. And she married into the Salisbury, bringing with her all that wealth, And he said, oh, I'm terribly sorry. He said, he was joking, absolutely joking. He said that I'm afraid, for the sake of the coffers, he had to marry down. And I said, I think you'll find she was the one who married down and brought all the money with her, But it was just one of those very light-hearted moments. It was also quite revealing as well, about the class structure and where it originates from, where it resides.
Well, I mean, the area that I worked in, there was an ex-sort of mining community. And just the other day, a friend of mine had bought an old clock from the German World War II era. And he said it was last, the provenance was it belonged to a museum of somebody in Clay Cross. And I'm thinking I'd known there was a museum in Clay Cross, and yet there was. The farrier in Clay Cross, he had a little museum when he retired, and people used to walk on things, and the interest of people was far beyond giving them a chance.
Thank you very much indeed, Stavros, for your call. Stavros in Chesterfield. I'm hoping to play a little. No, I'm being told no, I can't play a little. We will play a little of Stravinsky's Rite of Spring before 4, I hope anyway. Judy's called from Belsize Park. Hi, Judy.
Hello, Sheila. I just wanted to finish with a sort of word of warning. I agree with every single thing that everybody's been saying, that everything should be open to all children, obviously. In the late 1950s, I worked at the Open Air Theatre in Regent's Park, and at that time it was run by the wonderful Robert Atkins, and we used to, at matinés, we got many school parties in, and we would have maybe 50, 60, 70 children in, and they would bring the text with them, and because of the length of the Shakespeare plays, very often Robert Atkins had made slight cuts to the dialogue, and they would be following all the dialogue in their text that they brought with them, and they would call out and say, no, you've missed this line, no, you've missed that line, which was brilliant. I mean, it was wonderful. It was very, very off-putting for the but it was wonderful how they were so involved with the plays, and they so enjoyed them. And they came from all different schools and everything, but it's the interaction and how much they enjoyed it was just marvellous. And I think the idea of saying that certain children shouldn't be allowed to do things that are kind of maybe thought of as out of their comfort zone is absolute rubbish.
And also, I also this hour. Yes, they very much did, and they had nothing to do with my experience previously.
But everything should be, in an ideal world, everything would be open to all children.
Yeah.
We don't live in an ideal world, obviously.
No, but everybody's life doesn't have to be identical either. That would be tedious too. If everybody's life was identical, you know. And look at, I mentioned briefly the Beatles. I mean, look at what they brought in terms of culture to our country and the world.
Oh, it's absolutely phenomenal. I just think that there's so much violence and close children purely by where they were born, where they live. I mean, there are amazing things that have been achieved by children completely alien to the way you would think they might develop.
If they're just given the chance.
Yes.
And you know, McCartney's really interesting, and I'm sure the others would echo it. But he talks a lot about the musical influences when he was growing up.
Right.
Over the years, I was fortunate enough to interview him twice, and on one occasion it was when he was debuting his oratorio, his classical music. He was debuting it in Liverpool at the Anglican Cathedral and giving press conference about it. And another time when I met him, years later, he was opening an exhibition of his own paintings at the Walker Gallery. You know? And I thought to myself, this guy is, you know, I mean, obviously it's probably easier to have your pictures hung in Walker if you're Paul McCartney than it would be if it was you or me, Judy. But, you know, the breadth of his artistic, you know, you can take it or leave it. You can love the oratorio or think it's middling or whatever, it's up to you. Yeah. But the point is, he did it. He was able to do a classical oratorio. He was able to paint beautiful pictures, I may say, and he is what he is with the music, the Beatles and Wings and what have you. Why not? Well, why not a working class lad from South Liverpool doing that? Why not?
But then it would also perhaps inspire other children who know that Paul McCartney didn't have any training as an artist originally, that they can have a try at painting.
And
who knows what they could achieve.
And that he doesn't read music, you know. I heard him talking about it just recently, that he doesn't read music. He can play and fiddle about and produce beautiful tunes, but if somebody said, sit down and play Mozart's whatever, he wouldn't be able to do it. 3:47.
Coming up at 4 on LBC, Tom Swarbrick.
The family of Captain Sir Tom Moore siphoned off funds that people could reasonably have expected to go to charity, but instead went to them. If this isn't criminal, what is it?
Tom Swarbrick on LBC.
The Lidl Christmas market range is in store with Lidl Plus save on goodies galore. So enjoy 20% off festive Fab Arena treats. Mince pies now only £1. Le Coupon for £1.80 and all but a Stollen bites for £2.39. Have a magical Christmas with Lidl. GB only subject to availability. Offer ends 27th of November. Terms apply. See lidl.co.uk/appletv.
Emergency ambulance. Is the patient breathing?
I've hit a man in my car. It's not moving. I didn't think I was going that fast.
Is he awake?
I don't think so. I was only going 20-ish.
Okay, what's the address?
Church Road by the theatre.
Right, the ambulance crew are on their way.
So sorry.
Stay calm. I need you to help him. I'm going to tell you what to do.
Please. Something done.
up drain ruin the festive cheer. There's always a better way to dispose of roasting fats and other blockable substances, from the smallest of crumbs to the thinnest custards. Find out all the tricks and tips and visit happydrains.co.uk. Happy Drains. Happy Christmas.
Sheila Fogarty on LBC. Listen on your smart speaker. Just say, play LBC.
Okay, I'm giving you a Rite of Spring play 30 seconds on it at the moment. The story around the Rite of Spring ballad revolves around the return of spring, and that nice, the return of spring, and the renewal of the earth through the sacrifice of a virgin chosen to dance herself to death. That sounds nice. Dancing herself to death. It's a score, I'm told here, as somebody who knows more than me, stands out as the world's first modernist orchestral work, instantly recognisable as one of the most recorded works in the classical repertoire. And it certainly did shift the dial, so for that it deserves credit. Brace yourselves. The Rite of Spring calling. Geraint in Cardiff. Hello.
Hello. First time I called the radio gentleman, James, and it's the first time I've been tempted to call in because I got in the car, I'm at home now, I got in the car and I heard you mention Rite of Spring. And I thought you were going to say what an epiphany it was. And then when you said you went to the loo to cool off and came back to the box and started reading about it, she said, tell me she's got it now.
No.
I brought up in South Wales. My parents were sort of working class mining stock, and I grew up in Cardiff. And I had quite old parents, so my dad was born in the 20s, and I was born in 1964, so I'm 60 now. My mum, I can go as far as I see, but this time she didn't really listen to music, she didn't know the artistic references to it. My dad didn't talk a lot because he's so traumatised by the war, but his escape was music. And he used to listen to fairly traditional sort of romantic periods, classical music, Beethoven, Schubert, that type of thing. And there was one of these Reader's Digest massive box sets. They used to do like 20 records, they used to send out on credit to people, and Dad had one of these. And I found Rite of Spring in there. I was very, very young. Sort of 7, 8 years old. And I found it an absolute epiphany. I found it just... I didn't know the context of it.
Had you heard any or much classical music before?
A lot.
Okay. And did you not connect to any of that? Did you find that intuition?
Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a proper Beatles nerd as well, but to me, it just sounded unlike anything else. It just pricked my ears up, and it made me go back to, and this was when I was young, it made me go back slightly further back to sort of post-romantic music, to stuff like Wagner, which is this kind of birth of modern music. And and I became, I picked up a cello, I became a cellist, I was in youth orchestras and youth choirs, I toured America, I toured Europe.
Do you credit the Rite of Spring with that?
I have seen it performed by Simon Rattle twice, once in Zurich and once in Edinburgh. And I said it made me think
and then
did you see any women fainting?
No. I'm my dad, by the time I've been ready for work, decides you're coming into the family business. I wanted to be a recording engineer. I wanted to sit behind a mixing desk with a 50-piece orchestra in front of me. So I've had a lifetime in business, but from a state school, working class background, it's the tension in it. It's the riots at the turn centre in Paris.
Was it Paris?
He's a Russian in exile in Paris. I mean, I didn't know any of this.
He had a thing with Coco Chanel, didn't he? He had a thing with Coco Chanel.
Absolutely. And I spend a lot of time
at the roundabout. Take the third exit.
I'm in Cardiff now. I spend a lot of time in the south of France. And there is a house in Beaulieu-sur-Mer that I've been walking past for 4 decades. And I only noticed about 3 weeks ago this blue plaque and I said, he was who lived there.
Photo.
I did.
Well, listen, do you know what, Garrett? On your behalf, I'm going to give it another go.
Okay.
And I might have to take a sedative to do it, but I might even go and see it perform live.
Well, if you don't like it, you don't like it.
No, but I've loved your story.
We're all different.
We are, but I've loved hearing about it. But it did actually give me what I think might have been a panic attack. I hadn't had one before or since, but I did not feel well listening to it. Thank you, Garrett. And what a wonderful story from Garrett. Maria's called from Elephant and Castle. Hello,
Exit
Maria.
now.
Hi, Trina. Are you alright?
I'm okay.
Good. I want to talk to you about my son. He's a very extrovert young man. He always loved performing. When he was 3, he learned how to tap dance and jazz, and he was out there. Then we were watching the 96 World Cup, and he saw Pavarotti singing Nesta Dorma, and turned around and said, I want to sing like him. And that's what he did. He went off to a conservatoire, learned all the in and out of opera, learned how to write music, he learned how to conduct, then did an opera course afterwards, he got an honours degree, and now he's a professional opera singer.
All from the World Cup?
All from the World Cup, yes.
Where the culture of football and opera became one.
Yes, and he sings in all sorts of languages. He sings in Spanish, French, German, Russian. He sings in all these languages. He can't speak half of them, but he can sing in them quite well.
But isn't that fantastic? So he had the same experience as Gerard, where a moment in time, exposure to Pavarotti and that voice that sounds like it's coming out of a cave.
Yeah.
He had a moment that led him to his life's work, actually.
Yes. I mean, he's still performing today. He's actually touring at the
Turn
moment
left.
with 2 girls, and they're going around to all the cathedrals around the country. And he actually sang at the Wexford Opera Festival in Ireland.
Wow. You're a proud mum.
I am very proud. He's got an amazing voice. Every time he sings, the hairs go up on the back of my neck.
Oh, and listen, I have no doubt he couldn't have done it without you as well and your support. So thank you, Maria. And it would have been so easy to know that idea, given your background, his background, but you didn't. And look at his life now. Good on you. That's it from me. If you missed any of today's show, and I hope I didn't alarm anybody with the 30 seconds of Stravinsky, you can listen back on Catch Up on Global Player, where you'll also find all of LBC shows to catch up on, as well as all of Global's live radio stations. Download Global Player for free from your app store or head to globalplayer.com. Coming up at 6, it's Andrew Marr, but now it's time for Tom Swarbrick.
Sheila, thank you very much indeed. Afternoon all. Welcome to the show. At 4 o'clock.
We will do what it takes to support Ukraine and put it in
Never
the
mind.
best possible
I'll find a
position
new route.
going into the winter.
As Ukraine is hit with ballistic missiles, Joe Biden seeks to write off half of the $9 billion loan granted to Zelensky. Should Britain also do the same with the money we've sent to Ukraine? Also,
I don't think it's right. I think people should be free to police themselves and their dogs.
a council is looking to bring in dog ASBOs, a fine if you let your dog off the lead in any public
Go
space. They
straight
say it's
on
because of an
and then
increasing
turn
number
right.
of dog attacks. Do you agree? First,
A long list of findings, very few of which come out with any kind of positive
right.
message.
it was meant to be an act of incredibly
Turn
British
left.
philanthropy, but the Charity Commission says the family of Captain Sir Tom Moore benefited personally from funds that were reasonably expected to go to good causes. If this isn't a crime, what would you call it?
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 4 o'clock, a warrant has been issued for the arrest arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu and some Hamas officials over alleged war crimes. The Israeli Prime Minister previously called the request disgraceful and anti-Semitic. President Biden also criticised the decision when the application was made over the conflict in Gaza and preceding attacks by Hamas. Former spokesman for NATO, Mark Leahy, has told LBC the US is between a rock and a hard place.
The Israelis are not party to the Rome Statutes, which is the ICC founding document, neither is the United States. But the public image of Israel, an ally of the United States, being accused of war crimes, looks really bad. No question about it. And the Americans probably feel they have no choice but to back Netanyahu.
6 British tourists have been taken to hospital in Laos after allegedly being poisoned. 4 people, including an Australian teenager, were killed after it's believed their drinks were spiked with methanol. The Foreign Office says it's in contact with local authorities. The heir to a pie company fortune has been found guilty of the murder of his best friend on Christmas Eve last year. 24-year-old Dylan Thomas stabbed William Bush in Cardiff. A highly critical report has identified repeated misconduct by the family of Captain Sir Tom Moore. The Charity Commission says Hannah and Colin Ingram Moore benefited by hundreds of thousands of pounds from deals, including a book advance. Captain Tom became a household name during the pandemic for his NHS fundraising. Paul Latham from the Watchdog has told LBC that people will rightly feel misled.
The public, in reading the foreword to that book, would have quite reasonably expected that some of the profits from that book would get to the charity, and indeed some of those involved in setting up the book deal expected that a donation would come to the charity. That hasn't happened.
The family says it's been treated unfairly and unjustly by the inquiry process. You can hear the full interview with Tom on LBC next. And 2-time Olympic triathlon champion Alistair Brownlee has announced his retirement from the sport at the age of 36. Brownlee says he looks forward to embracing a slightly slower pace of life. In the city, a short time ago, the FTSE 100 was trading up 53 points at 81.39. The pound buys $1.26 and €1.20. LBC weather, wintry showers sinking south for England and Wales tonight. Fleet and snow showers for the north of Scotland and Northern Ireland, a low of -5. Sunny spells for most tomorrow, more wintry showers for large parts of England and northeastern Scotland, mainly dry elsewhere, a high of 9 degrees. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Amelia Cox.
This is LBC. From Global, leading Britain's conversation with Tom Swarbrick.
Just got 4. Hello, afternoon. Welcome to the show. You're listening to Tom Swarbrick at Drive on LBC. Hope you find it very well. Coming up. Murderers were among the prisoners that could have qualified for Labour's early release scheme at now emerges. They reassure us that violent offenders weren't going to qualify for it. A hasty correction by the government is being issued. Also, dog attacks are on the rise, so one London council is mulling a dog ASBO, a fine for owners if their dog is caught off the lead in any public space. Is that reasonable?
Call and WhatsApp message now. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Tom Swarbrick on LBC.
Very good afternoon to you. This hour,
absolutely amazing achievement. Captain Tom, how do you feel this morning?
Fine. You'll all know by now that while being at heart a lover, not a fighter, I was born cynical, and near enough 2 decades working in politics and the media has sharpened my cynical edge. I am very happy to see the good in things, but only once the thing has run the cynicism gauntlet. And can I be completely frank with you? The whole thing around Captain Sir Tom Moore never made it through the cynicism gauntlet and never made it out the other side, in my own mind.
And then
of really seeing the whole good in it. It would have been heretical to have said it at the time, given this elderly gentleman, this war veteran, was basically the glue holding the nation together during the dark days of COVID. The man was never off our screens. He was never out in the garden. The poor chap probably wanted a cup of tea and a foot spa, but oh no, sorry sir, out you go again. The BBC are here to get some shots of you waving. It was just weird. It was weird at the time. It's absolutely demented now. Nevertheless, an objectively good thing did happen. 39 million quid was raised from the NHS money that was sent to the health service, but that's not where it ended. For Captain Sir Tom Moore, and in particular his daughter and her husband, there were, of course, marketing opportunities. A book deal, a range of gyms, merch of all kinds, a conference centre with spa and pool, built in the grounds of the England Moors home, bit weird, all done in the name of Captain Sir Tom Moore's Foundation, a charity designed to help good causes. Kids went to school dressed as Captain Sir Tom Moore for World Book Day. Hell, my kids have even got the book. The global media circuit awaited. And you know what happened next. You know because you're not sucking in naively to all this stuff either. You're like me. You're as cynical as I am, aren't you? You knew in your heart of hearts that this lady propelled to the national stage, even waving from the royal box at Wimbledon. You knew this didn't quite add up. But you got suckered into it too, didn't you? So what happened here? And when we hear from the Charity Commission in just a moment, I wonder how you end up feeling about it. If this isn't a crime, and it isn't a crime, what is it? Here's the full detail of the Charity Commission's report into the Captain Tom Moore Foundation, as laid out by Paul Latham, the Director of Policy at the Charity Commission, and the frankly shameful way they say the family of Captain Sir Tom Moore profited from money reasonably expected to go to charity.
So I think it's really important to make clear that people will remember that amazing fundraising work that Captain Sir Tom Moore did back during the pandemic, raising around £39 million for NHS and charities together. And that money all flowed through to that charity. Our inquiry published today covers the charities subsequently set up in Captain Sir Tom's name, foundation. So that's the scope that we looked into. And essentially what this is, your listeners will have seen many stories about these issues over the past couple of years. Really, this is a very clear and authoritative overview of what has happened in that charity subsequent to those great fundraising efforts.
And people will, I think, probably be aware of elements of what that charity sought to do, whether it was the Captain Tom Moore badges, or the Captain Tom Moore machine, or for our family at least, the Captain Tom Moore book, which my children received for Christmas that year. So what did you find was going on in that element of the charity?
So we found essentially a pattern of behaviour where the private interests of the family and the interests of the charity were not being kept properly separate, conflicts of interest were not being properly managed, and Hannah and Ingram Moore, two family members, were potentially benefiting personally from the charity. And this is a fundamental point about charity, is that you have to keep your private interests separate from the public benefit of charity. And unfortunately we found that there were repeated instances where that wasn't the case.
So give us an example of one of those instances. And what the Ingram Moors, particularly Hannah Ingram Moore, the CEO, was doing with that money.
So a really clear example would be an awards ceremony where Hannah Ingram Moore accepted and presented an award in the name of Captain Tom. It was accepted and very much in the name of the charity. However, an £18,000 appearance fee was accepted by Hannah Ingram Moore personally, and we think
grand.
We think there would have been a reasonable expectation that some or all of that money would have flowed to the charity, but it didn't.
And what about other elements? I mentioned before my personal interest in this book.
Turn left.
We're saying here that the Ingram Moors essentially siphoned off money from the charity for themselves.
I'd like to clarify that. So it's a distinction. We have not found that any money that was received by the charity went to the Ingram Moors or and didn't go to some of the causes the charity was set up to make grants to. But we found that there were instances where you may have expected that funds would flow to the charity, but because of this quite complex web between the Ingram Moors' personal companies or interests and the charity didn't reach the charity. So you've asked about the book about Captain Sir Tom's autobiography, and I think the public, in reading the foreword to that book, would have quite reasonably expected that some of the profits from that book would get to the charity, and indeed some of those involved in setting up the book deal expected that a donation would come to the charity. That hasn't happened.
Do you know by how much Hannah Ingram Moore and Colin Ingram Moore personally benefited from this?
We don't have an exact sum. I've mentioned a sum of £18,000 relating to an event. The book deal, we say in our report, involved an advance of £1.4 million.
Whoa.
That is not necessarily the same as all of that money flowing to the charity.
But we're looking at hundreds of thousands of pounds here, minimum.
There are significant sums that people might reasonably have expected would reach the charity that did not.
Is this a crime?
No, we have found no evidence of a crime. What we have found is that there was misconduct and or mismanagement in how the charity was run. We have disqualified both Hannah and Colin Ingram Moore as trustees of the charity for a number of years. We have also indicated to the Ingram Moores that they have an opportunity to help to put this right and make a donation to the charity. They have not done so.
What's your definition, if it isn't a crime, what's your definition of the word grifter?
Grift is not a word I use. Why don't you take me through your thinking?
Well, I think people are going to be absolutely outraged that, and quite rightly, that two people who set up for charitable endeavours to use, in this case, for Hannah Ingram Moore's case, her father's good name, to make charitable donations by selling books and gins and T-shirts, what have you, that money didn't reach those charities. That is as straightforwardly grifting as I think it might be possible to get. But I'm not going to put words into your mouth.
So I certainly agree that I think people will be shocked at what they read in our report. Obviously, some of it has been in the public domain, but we have powers where we're able to obtain the records of the charity and other kind of documentation. And we've put together really a complete story of what we consider has happened. And I certainly think some of it is quite shocking.
This is such a sorry tale, isn't it? Given what happened during the pandemic with Captain Sir